The outgoing SNP leader had spoken of the need for more consensus in Scottish politics but struggled to contain his anger as he was mocked from the Tory benches. Humza Yousaf lost his cool several times as he addressed Holyrood for the first time since announcing his resignation as First Minister on Monday. The outgoing SNP leader had recently called for a more conciliatory tone in Scottish politics. But he displayed no sign of taking his own words on board as he ranted at Parliament when put on the spot by Douglas Ross. And the Scottish Conservative leader drew laughs when he produced a letter the FM had written for him last week asking for Tory support to remain in the post. Mr Ross, who said it could well be Mr Yousaf's final FMQs, also said John Swinney, expected to be the next SNP leader, had his fingerprints over toxic nationalists' policies of the past 17 years. Mr Yousaf shouted across the chamber as he responded to Mr Ross, who took credit for ousting the First Minister with his motion of no confidence. He accused Mr Ross of wanting to talk about personalities, as opposed to talking about policies, and became so emotional he got Liz Truss's name wrong on numerous occasions. And after one rant about the UK government, Mr Ross said, "He's talking a big game now. Has he forgotten it was just last Friday he wrote this humiliating letter to me begging the Conservatives and our colleagues here to save his skin? He actually was begging us to save his job." That's how quickly things change in the world of Humza Yousaf. He added, Humza Yousaf is lashing out today because he knows it was the Scottish Conservatives that forced him out of his job. Mr Ross focused on the previous record of Mr Swinney, who announced his leadership candidacy just hours earlier. He said the former Deputy First Minister had dropped the ball dozens of times and stood right by Nicola Sturgeon when she obsessed over independence, when she increased taxes, when she wrecked Scotland's public services. Mr Ross also called Mr Swinney the architect of the hates named persons law who deleted every WhatsApp message that should have gone to the UK COVID inquiry in a disgraceful cover-up. He said Mr Swinney was the Education Secretary who let our schools spiral down international league tables and oversaw the disastrous ferry deal. Referencing the movie Godfather 3, Mr Ross said, "Just when John Swinney thought he was out, they pull him back in because there is literally nobody else. The SNP's man for the future is their former leader from the past, from one continuity candidate to another." He added, out of the 17 years of SNP government, John Swinney sat around the cabinet table, his fingerprints are all over their most toxic policies. How will going back to the future get the SNP out of the mess that they're in? Mr Yousaf responded, saying both John Swinney and Kate Forbes, who was weighing up a run at the leadership but is expected to stand aside, were more popular than Mr Ross. He branded the Tories nasty but admitted Mr Ross had every right and prerogative to gloat about the position that I am in.